Hello, and welcome back to our revamped version of our online column for the Oklahoma Institute for Child Advocacy. My name is Joe Dorman. I'm the Chief Executive Officer for OICA, and we'll be bringing conversations to you each week discussing the things that have been outlined in our weekly newspaper column, and then shedding a little bit of light on the work that we have coming up. This week, we discussed the outcome of State Question 832, which was the vote to increase the minimum wage in Oklahoma that primary voters looked at in July. Now, the vote failed. It was 281,000 votes to 349,000 votes. And when you break down the numbers a little bit more, we saw of Oklahoma's 2.42 million registered voters, only 26% actually showed up to the polls and voted on the state question and those candidates that were on their ballot. For independents and libertarians, they could only vote on the state question. But when you see that few people engage in the process, that leaves that decision up to those who actually show up. We oftentimes hear this conversation that if you're willing to get involved, if you get in the game, essentially, if you vote, you are sharing your voice on what you feel is important. Far too many Oklahomans do not. On questions like this, on the candidates that we see, we really need a stronger voice. And so I would encourage you, get active and help get friends registered to vote. If you have someone who's turning 18 in your life, encourage them to register 6 months in advance, which is allowed by law, and then they will be allowed to vote on Election Day. We have a runoff coming up in August and the general election in November, and there will be other state questions on the November ballot, including the possibility of a couple of property tax questions. And so certainly get involved with that. Back to State Question 832, the minimum wage question. There were a lot of folks out there, obviously, that did not like the plan that was presented. You had the ramp up under 3 separate levels, up to $15 per hour. And then after that, there would be a consumer index that would look at the need for further raises based on the economics of the nation. There were a lot of people that were opposed to that. There were other individuals that were opposed to different portions of this. But when you break down the numbers, when you look at the for and the against and the party registration, at least 54,000 Oklahoma Republicans voted for State Question 832. So this does make it a bipartisan concern with Democrats, Republicans, Libertarians, Independents. There were people that believe we need to do something to provide a living wage in Oklahoma under the minimum wage laws. And so I certainly hope lawmakers will look at this, look at that bipartisan support for that issue, and come up with their own plan. There is nothing stopping lawmakers in Oklahoma from doing a minimum wage increase. It's never happened in Oklahoma. We've always tied our minimum wage to the federal level. But here is a chance for lawmakers to get ahead of this. The supporters have already said there would be another state question or more work on this. That work could come from lawmakers deciding what would be fairest in their minds. So I want you sharing your ideas for what would help improve the lives of children. If you would go to info@oica.org and send us an email with your thoughts, or go to oica.org, our website, check out the different programs that we have and leave comments there. We want you getting active, just like we want you registering to vote and getting active and going to the polls. Fall Forum is going to be in October, and we will take those ideas for the lawmakers who are elected in November, and then we will encourage them to file legislation based upon that input. Together, we can make Oklahoma a better place for children. But I want you to start by stepping up and getting involved. Vote and share your ideas and become a stronger advocate for children. I look forward to hopefully seeing you each and every week when we discuss these different ideas in this column, and certainly send me your ideas of what you think would be good for a future column for me to write about. Thank you, and you have a great week.